before you pre-order the Switch 2, I want you to think and I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time I genuinely used my Nintendo Switch? Cause I'ma keep it 100 with you. If your answer ain't within the past month, you can go ahead and put the $450 that you had towards that Switch 2 and go ahead and put it on fire. This isn't me hating on the Switch 2 or anything like that, but if you've been up to date with all the Switch 2 drama, with the pricing and the tariffs, then you and everybody else mama knows what's going on, and it's not looking so hot for Nintendo right now. Cause me, if I go in my closet right now, my Switch OLED is underneath my iFixit key. It's collecting dust. I have not touched that hoe since the 1000 Year Door came out, and I 100%ed it. It's just nothing appeasing on the Switch right now. It's just not. It's just not. But look, Nintendo has got some big ass balls, charging $10 for a tech demo. And if that's still not bad, we gotta go through the pain of physical and digital games being $80, and that's being nice for the physical, the physical copy 80. It could still be 90. We don't know. I'ma just say with 80 to be safe. Still too damn high, but we gonna go with 80. And I know it's some assholes and some Nintendo's in the comments talking about, yo, just broke, bro. Or, well, actually, if we compare past game prices back then to the 80s and 90s, now technically, bro, nobody ain't trying to hear that shit. Nobody ain't trying to hear that, Brody. Listen to me. We can let $450 slide for a console in today's age. It's 2025. We've got the PS5, we've got the Xbox, we've got the Steam Deck, Legion Go. It's a justifiable price. $450 to $400, that's good, okay? Nobody has got a problem with it. You know what the issue is? It's the games. It's the games. $80 to $90. And I hate to touch back on this, but even if we look at the specs for the Switch for $450, I don't know what Nintendo deal is for always being late to the party. Yes, I'm happy that it's 4K docked and it's 120 hertz in handheld mode or docked, if you play on 1080. But I mean, that's like the bare minimum, dude. Like, you gonna come in here acting like y'all got the balls of the place, expecting, this price point for shit that should just be expected. It's the bare minimum. Again, it's 2025. I don't know what y'all expect your customers to be, like some guinea pigs and just take whatever you hand you. No, that ain't okay, dude. But on these games, right? Because I was talking about the $80 price point, I expect my games to be optimized and done, right? I want a full-fledged game that's fully optimized for my system and it's done. Because if I gotta buy another piss poor optimized Pokemon game, I genuinely feel like I'm going to lose it. Let's take a look. We got Pokemon Sun and Moon. It was priced at $39.99 for the 3DS. We got Pokemon X and Y. It was priced $39.99 for the 3DS. Most of the 3DS games were priced at $39.99, but you get what I mean. Let's take Pokemon Black and White 2 for the Nintendo DS. Depending on where you were, it was either $34.99 or it was $29.99. Really good pricings, right? What do all these games got in common? What they got in common? It's not the eye-pleasing $30 to $40 margin. Trust me, we all know that shit look good. But it's the fact that these games were optimized, they were finished for the DS and 3DS systems, and we didn't need DLC. It's like the Nintendo charges you for DLC for something that should already be in the base game. And the game's not even fully optimized, my nigga. It's not even optimized. That's what really gets me. At least make sure your game is fucking done first before you upcharge niggas 20 to 30 bucks, right? Cause let's take a look at Pokemon Sword and Shield. A game Yeah, it's tolerable. I believe 5 to 10 years from now, Sword and Shield is gonna get the black and white treatment. You know, people ain't care for it when it first came out. Now you got the little trend, yada yada yada. You got some bandwagons talking about they like black and white. Yeah, I don't want to hear all that. But blah, blah, blah. Let's take Sword and Shield, right? A game that's tolerable, but the shit wasn't optimized the best. But it was priced at $59.99. But guess what? They also charged us $30 for the Frozen Tundra DLC. So technically we paid over $90, if I'm being honest, for a game that wasn't fully even optimized, and it was more like a cash grab. The Frozen Tundra should have already been post-game, okay? DLC shouldn't even be a thing for Pokemon. If y'all really want to give the fans something for Pokemon, go back to what y'all used to do with the global distribution system and go online and get Pokemon, you know, gifts that way and legendaries that way. That's how you should do it. But I'm not gonna go too deep into it. But let's take Legends of Arceus, you know, Scarlet and Violet. I mean, Legends was a good concept, but when you look at the optimization and the performance, the shit was whack, bro. And Scarlet and Violet was nothing but a bug fest. And I'm not saying games aren't supposed to have bugs or games aren't supposed to have glitches, but Nintendo is just being lazy, because in the past, for you to find a bug or a glitch, people spent hours, and I mean hours, just to find an exploit or even two to take advantage of. But in this day and age, you can just find a glitch or a bug while just playing the game normally. Like, I'm not the only one that think that's a problem. Like, Nintendo, that's just being lazy. And we pay more for games, you know, over the years, but the experience, it's just getting worse. And it may be some people saying, hey bro, you doing a whole lot of bitching, man. Because it's true. It's true, bro. You expect niggas to pay $80 for y'all Switch 2 games, yet y'all can't even optimize them for the first generation of Nintendo Switches. Yes, you claim when we buy the Switch 2 that we get 4K and 120 Hertz. But the question is, can y'all actually optimize the game for it to handle those specs that you're listing? Because if the games can't actually reach its full potential, Nintendo, I'm not interested, nigga. That's just the facts. Don't give me some false information if you can't live up to the expectations and you want me and the other people's money. That's not okay. You know, a good example, Nintendo did a whole remaster for Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. One of the best games in history. Just saying, I'm just saying. But these niggas did a whole new remaster. And you telling me they locked that game to 30 frames per second, dude? 30 frames? The original one on the GameCube did 60. Do you not hear what I'm saying? The OG did 60 on the GameCube. What is the excuse? Now, granted, the 30 frames per second kind of grew on me because of the paper aesthetic and the theme of Paper Mario, but that's besides the point. Like, there is no reason that we've got mainstream Pokemon games, Zelda games, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Why the hell was that locked to 30 FPS? You can't give me any excuse to convince me that the original Switch can't handle outputting 60 frames per second. You know, a constant 60 frames per second, at least for the main IP games. Because we live in a time nowadays where Nintendo fans will just take whatever the fuck Nintendo gives them and just eat that shit up. Nintendo could serve a big, black, juicy BBC and half the fans would just eat it up like it wasn't nothing. I don't think I mentioned how dumb the upgrade packs are for the Switch 2. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm surprised they're even charging $10 for an upgrade pack. Or maybe a Nintendo Ninja is gonna hear this video, they gonna get an idea and say, hey man, I heard this nigga on YouTube talking about we only charging $10 for these upgrade packs, man, if you're on the original version of on the first Switch. So what I'm thinking is that we should do with our main IPs, like we get Splatoon 3, right? We charge these niggas an extra $20 to $30. Yeah, you see what I'm putting down? Because people gonna eat that shit up. Like, let's say we got Smash Ultimate, right? You know people have been expecting a new Smash Brothers, right? Let's charge a $20 to $30, price margin to put Super Smash Bros over and optimize it for the Switch 2. But we ain't gonna upgrade Smash Bros. We literally just gonna port it over, optimize it to hit what, 120 frames if you want to, or 4K. Y'all don't even got the decency, to actually continue patch notes with Smash. Touch some of these niggas like Steve, like Kazuya, Pyroniem, Knockback. Y'all just gonna port the game over raw. Not gonna surprise people with characters that they want, like Crash Bandicoot. Where the fuck is Rayman? Just taking the shortcut out. But look. I'm getting out of here. I just wanna let's take a look at what Nintendo listed about these game packs. Let's just go through the description real quick, all right? Check it out. So we're here about the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition game. So let's read through this together, right? The Nintendo Switch 2 Edition of the game is a bundle that includes the original game and its upgrade pack. This enhances the game to take advantage of the capabilities of the Nintendo Switch 2 system, and this is only available for select games. Ooh. Contents and enhancements of the upgrade pack vary by game. They can include visual improvements, new features, or additional game modes. Features and content of a Nintendo Switch 2 Edition game can only be played on the Nintendo Switch 2. That's not a surprise, okay? We get that. If you already own the original Nintendo Switch game as a physical or digital version, you can upgrade to the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition by purchasing the game's upgrade pack from Nintendo's eShop, My Nintendo Store, or the retailer. After you upgrade, the original Nintendo Switch game can still be played on Nintendo Switch, but the features and contents of the 2 Edition can only be played on the 2. As an example, let's look at Super Mario Party Jamboree, Nintendo Switch's 2 Jamboree TV Edition, okay? This is a new way to play exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2, Jamboree TV. New modes that use mouse controls, microphone, and a compatible USB-C camera. A compatible USB-C cam. You talking about this camera? USB-C camera. This right here. Ain't this thing like $50? So they're just expecting you to go out of your way, right? Pay $50 for probably a cheap ass camera so you can utilize the full extent of Mario Party Jamboree for the Switch 2. Oh, okay. Players appear within the game via camera play using a compatible USB-C camera. Yeah, you made sure to put souls separately twice, huh? Okay. Games share compatibility for local multiplayer. Not like the DS did that first, huh? But okay, I get it. 1440p resolution in TV mode, or 1080p in tabletop mode, and handheld mode. That for a new system, I would expect that to be the bare minimum. It's not really something I need to get listed. I would just expect the new version of the game to be fully optimized, but okay. Visually enhanced with improved frame rates. Again, it's a new console, new tech. At the bare minimum, I would expect these two to, not be a reason you try to upcharge people for a package. But okay, I get it. Let's go down to Breath of the Wild, right? Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 Edition comes out June 5th. Here's what the upgrades entail. Support for the Zelda notes, game-specific service via Nintendo Switch app. I think that's what you use to get the towers. It'll give you the locations of the towers and some Deku or Baka, whatever you want to call the seeds, Korok seeds, right? Oh, but look at this. Improved frame rates and resolution, faster load times, HDR support. So you want to charge niggas $10 to $20 for the bare minimum. For the bare minimum. Let me read that again. Improved frame rates and resolution. I would expect that, okay? Faster load times. I would hope it's faster than the first gen, the first Switch. And HDR support. Nowadays, what doesn't support these? Like, okay, I'll let you get the pass. You'll get a pass because I'm being nice, right? Let's go to Tears of the Kingdom. Same thing, Zelda notes. Improved frame rates. It's the same shit.
What?
So you want to upcharge people 10? That's if we're lucky if y'all don't change it to 20 or 30. But let's be nice. You want to charge niggas $10 if they already own both these games for improved frame rates, faster load times, and HDR support, which should already come stock when you upgrade your console, right? You would expect this to be stock because if we take the PlayStation and we take the Xbox, and I remember they did this when people were struggling getting the new gen consoles. PlayStation and Xbox is a prime example. Dead by Daylight. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Dead by Daylight, it's a pretty popular horror game. But before the game was fully, developed for the new gen, everybody was stuck on the PS4 and the Xbox One version. But when they finished the upgrade package, you know what they did? If you owned an Xbox Series S or X or a PS5, they let you upgrade the game completely for free to maximize it for the new gen. 120 frames. If you got 4K, I don't even know if it's, I think it does support if your TV allows, but 4K or HDR, all the 9 yards. Completely free. Other games like Spider-Man did the same thing. Completely free. But Nintendo, you get charged a measly $10. And again, that's being nice. You gotta pay $10 for what comes standard for the the console. Well, at least what should be standard for the console. But let's keep going on. Kirby and the Forgotten Land. A new story, star-crossed world, visually enhanced with improved frame rates. This is like a mini DLC. I could let that slide. That could be justifiable for $10, okay? I can let that slide. That's more like a mini DLC. That's okay. Stop listing this. Stop listing it, okay? That's not impressive. That should already be, that's not a selling point. That's not a selling point. We would expect it. And we've got Legends ZA. This isn't out yet. Improved performance with higher frame rate and resolution. So this is getting a version on the original Switch too. So here's what I'm thinking they're gonna do. Regular Switch, OLED, etc. We're gonna get 30 frames per second, like every other mainstream Pokemon game. Optimization is just gonna be pitiful. But we're Pokemon fans, we'll take it. We love Pokemon. If you have the Switch 2, they've got two ways. They've got the lazy way. They're just gonna make it 60 FPS. Or they're actually gonna make use of their full console tech and capabilities and specs and make it 120 hertz. I'm not leaning towards the 120 hertz, but I could be wrong. I think I'm gonna go with 60. I think they're gonna lock it to 60 for the Switch 2, and for us losers, we get 30 for the OLED and the regular Switch, but I could be wrong. Metroid Prime 4, support for mouse controls using Joy-Con 2 controllers. Oh, something that already comes with the new console. Cool. Enhanced resolution, textures, and load time. Oh no, wow, I wasn't expecting it. Quality mode runs at 60 frames per second in 4K. Okay. And, wait, I said that wrong. Wait, quality mode runs at 60 frames per second in 4K. Resolution in TV mode is 1080p while in handheld. Oh, it's in 1080 if it's in handheld. Got it. Performance mode, you get 120 frames per second, 1080p in TV mode, and 720 in handheld. Both display modes that feature HDR support. So here's what I'm getting from this, right? All of this is obsolete. That's not an upgrade. That it's not. We've been through this. We expect enhanced resolution, textures, and load times. It's a new version. You don't have to list that. We get that. This is not, no, that's not special. And this, the support for mouse controls using Joy-Con 2 controllers. So, am I missing something? Like the bare minimum requirements, they just They don't exist for Nintendo? That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm saying. They just don't exist for Nintendo. So, with that being said, this just goes through the little upgrade pack crap. So, I mean, hey, what can I say? If you want to call me out and say I'm being the big bad wolf because I'm just telling you how it is, then by all means, give Nintendo your money. Because at the end of the day, they're a business, they're a company, and to them, we're only ants that just feed them money. If you buy it, you're telling them you're okay with it. I don't know. You know, I still got my OLED, like I said. I doubt I'll buy it on day one. But maybe on Black Friday, it may go on sale. I don't know. If I could catch it for a good price, buy it, trade my stuff over, then put my OLED, trade my OLED in or whatever, or sell it on a third party, I might do that. But on day one, no, it's just not worth it for day one for what they want and what they're listing. And it's like I said earlier, these games, they're so limited. I would expect at least like 6 more games, maybe. Like I said, they could have done Splatoon. Like, I don't know why Splatoon wasn't a port for the Switch 2 edition. Like I said, they could have did Smash Bros. Like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm just the nigga that you're watching on the screen. I could be wrong. So that's all I've got to say. You know what I mean? If you enjoyed the video, kudos to you. If you didn't, I'm sorry. But you just let a black dude waste what, like 13 minutes of your life, so you can't get that back. I'm sorry about that. You ain't getting that back, but I'm gonna take my ass to sleep.